Heyo everybody, Haku here with this week's read-through for Magical Girl Raising Project, or Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku. ACES, Chapter 1, we're at Part 2 now. So for this part, I'm thinking I'm gonna go from page... Well, we ended off around like page 12, and I think I'm gonna go, or try to go to like page 29 or 32. I believe there are page breaks on each, or rather scene breaks on each. That I could stop at, and then hopefully if I make it there, next video I can finish off this chapter and we can move on to chapter 2. Now, I've been like super busy right now, like even right now I'm recording this at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, and Tuesdays are when I usually post these. So I'm gonna have to record this, record the Promised Neverland read through directly after this. That's another long video, so I'm gonna try to not lose my voice here, and then try to get this posted as soon as I'm done recording both of those. So yeah, kind of busy, lots going on, pretty hectic, and maybe after next week when we finish off this chapter, hopefully things won't be so crazy and I'll have a bit more time to devote to this. I'll be a bit more caught up on everything, so that maybe I can crank up the length of these videos. To me, 30 minutes is good, but if I have extra time, crank up the length of these videos to 45 minutes or an hour, and we can go through the arc even quicker. There's not really too much purpose in doing so, given that, again, when we run out of stuff and are caught up with a series like this, it's going to be much harder to produce content, so there's no reason to rush. But yeah, we're starting around page 12. Last time we started off getting a bit of a prologue, a bit of an introduction to the arc. We have Patricia and Shadowgale who are going to be doing things, and Snow White is working with Oskmal Valmer or something like that. Something similar to that, which is one of the three sages. Or no, the Valmer ones are the bad ones. That's the one that was... So, I don't know, these sort of incarnations of the three sages are kind of weird. Because it's like, so does that mean that, oh gosh, what was her name? Does that mean that Grimheart was Osk Valmer? Or that she's just sort of a servant that spreads Valmer's will? Because incarnation would make me think she is the current Osk Valmer. But she's working with Puck for right now, and she thinks that maybe she's going to be able to trust them, so I don't know if I trust them. But either way, let's see where we go on from there. We're going to... Oh yeah, we kind of got cliffhangered last time where they cut away right as they hear somebody coming back from the corridor. But we're jumping over to Shadowgale, and we're toward the end of page 12. So, Shadowgale. The enemy struck when Momori was at school. It's not like she didn't think she'd be attacked at school when the sunset began, but she didn't think she'd be attacked when there were people watching. There was a magical girl in full armor plating. It's what I call her, Dread Knight. There was a magical girl in full armor plating standing before her. The magical girlish-looking unique armor seemed clunky yet sturdy. In reality, she might not be able to damage it no matter how much she punched and kicked it. As the armor magical girl silently walked up to her, despite her tiny body, she exerted a lot of pressure. She looked more like a gore manga monster than a magical girl. Sorry, just checking stuff. Oh yeah, and that's something I need to pay attention to my recording as well, because I've had problems with that lately. But hopefully everything will be fine. The magical girl opposite her, on the other hand, was gorgeous and beautiful and very dazzling. Her costume was a policeman motif, although it removed... Oh, so Patricia's the cop then. Her costume was a policeman motif, although it removed any signs of practicality and focused more on decoratives and exposure on her legs. The police lamps on her thighs worked, able to light up, though there were no sirens. It was still a strong appeal factor. The armor magical girl thrust her fist without any fear of the police lamps, and the policeman magical girl Patricia used her metal chain-link cuffs to wrap them around the armor girl's arm. The armor girl's arms were entwined and tried to pull herself off by force. Patricia found it difficult to resist, but pulled back, power meeting power, until the chain links broke. Shadowgale's arm stiffened. Patricia let out a pained voice. "Shadowgale, you're pretty tough yourself, aren't you?" "Oh, sorry. No, it's fine. I mean, if I dropped you just 'cause of that, or just 'cause of that squeeze, boss will probably do worse than fire me. I'll probably disappear. Scary, huh? Okay. Shadowgale gripped tighter, clinging to Patricia, moving at extreme speeds while repelling an assassin. She was clinging to Patricia's back as they headed to a safe location. Having Patricia here made her feel safe. Needless to say, she wasn't planning on falling here. Alright, and now we have an illustration of Patricia carrying Shadowgale. Best girl! Shadowgale is the best character. So adorable. I love Patricia's little police sirens too. Did the armor girl despise them as she saw them talk? The armor magical girl pulled on the chain even stronger. Patricia pulled back as well, gradually becoming stronger. As Patricia antagonized her, the armor magical girl stomped her feet on the ground. Though the cobblestone pavement on the ground broke, Patricia was able to catch her breath. But Patricia lost some power, and the armor magical girl behind her wobbled, stepping around clumsily. The armor magical girl lost her balance. She bent her body around greatly and fell on her back. Patricia stepped in, and while the armor magical girl was laid down, she tried to launch a kick to Patricia's chin. Patricia dodged with half her body, then stepped forward, hitting the armor girl in the face with the handcuffs on her right hand. The way she used the cuffs were similar to knuckle dusters. However, these were magical handcuffs. They'd never bend or break. I don't know, the chain link from them broke. With these sturdy magical handcuffs, any magical girl can use their full power without hesitation. The beaten-up armor magical girl broke the stone pavement and bounced up. Patricia caught up in midair and hit her in the back this time. Despite how durable that armor is to piercing, the blow was able to reach the inside. Still, the armor magical girl tried to twist her body without raising a single voice. On the third punch, she was blown away, directly hitting a bench, causing it to break apart in two. She passed through the lilac bushes and finally stopped when she slammed onto a wire mesh fence. The thick wire mesh had been torn, toppled, and the brace broke off from the center. Patricia was already waiting behind the wire mesh. She had enough speed to overtake something she punched away. Then a second punch, using the magical handcuffs. Face stitches. She now began hitting the prone magical girl with the chains as the armor magical girl was on her knees. Shadowgale wasn't good at fighting, but even then, Shadowgale saw Patricia's strength. When she remembered who this reminded her of, it was the great dragon that she had seen in the game. She was carrying Shadowgale on her back, yet still overwhelming her opponent. The armor magical girl wasn't a weak opponent. She was actually able to stand despite enduring these attacks. Black, mud-like substances came out of the armor, trying to support her. The black mud gradually covered up her armor. Shadowgale breathed. The armor was covered in black mud, increasing its thickness, changing its form, getting larger. Over there. The chain flew. Patricia locked the handcuffs on the armor's neck and legs. The armor magical girl stopped moving. The black armor went back inside the cracks after trembling. Not moving anymore, huh? You keep taking my hits and counterattacking. Thought I'd stop you before that. My handcuffs can't be resisted once you're cuffed, whether a magical girl or demon. Shadowgale raised her head. The sound of sirens gradually approached from afar. Police, ambulance, did the neighbors report this disturbance? Ah man, we're in trouble. Thanks, but we have to... Before Shadowgale could thank her, Patricia already started running. Shadowgale was dragged along. Her head was being pulled backwards due to the running. Humans would get whiplash thanks to this. Don't do that all of a sudden. I didn't hear any response from my subordinates. Huh? Should have contacted me, so I can go in time for their support, right? While running, she operated her magical phone, then dropped it to the bag in her waist. From alley to alley, she kept running across the walls. She didn't stop running at all. Patricia, your subordinates are strong, aren't they? Well, yeah, right. I mean, they work just like I do, and they're paid, sure, but have a little faith. Patricia approved of them, so they had to be strong. Before she saw Patricia actually fight, she didn't think she was that strong, but when she saw that fight, she understood why she was chosen to be her bodyguard. She didn't think a bodyguard by Fleur would have such a friendly attitude, but she wasn't fundamentally bad herself, so it looks like Fleur's subordinates weren't all bad people as well. It's natural to be more alert after your manor had been attacked. That's why she had to be attended to. Then she was attacked in school. There was a group of black, creepy creatures. The armor magical girl didn't even care that there were pedestrians watching. Patricia carried Shadowgale and ran away, supported her, and from the shadow of the building, far from any people, jumping from telephone, 10 magical girls wielding weapons appeared, attacking the black creatures. Those magical girls attacked with swords at the wing-like black creatures. Another of the black creatures dived in, but the magical girl at attack dodged it. Magical girls were standing back to back to check enemies in the sky. The creatures were cooperating together to attack. So I wonder if they're made sort of like the artificial demons or whatever, or the, what were they called? Like the artificial demons that the pure elements used, but what were the disruptors or something like that they fought? I wonder if there's something like that. Because we still haven't learned exactly what the disruptors were yet. Because as far as we know, none of the ordinary magical girls had to fight those. That was just something that the pure elements were sent after. So we don't know the exact origin of why all of that was being done yet. Patricia, is that where I am? Yeah. Patricia had moved all this way while fighting with the armor magical girl intensely. The number of things being destroyed increased rapidly. Patricia had always been a bodyguard. When they were at a ramen shop, she muttered out, "There's something rotten smelling here. You smell it too, right?" When she bought medicine at the pharmacy, she said, "Even my boss needs stomach medicine." She laughed while taking the train to school. She asked, "Got someone you like at school?" She's always following her no matter where she went. Even when Momori wasn't Shadowgale and was human, as in not a cute girl kind of type, she still followed her around. Okay. Since her subordinates were always there, she thought she'd be safe to remain human. Okay. Shadowgale didn't realize the presence of these subordinates. They weren't just fighting magical girls that carried weapons all the time after all. Clearly they assumed something would happen. Konoe had lost part of her memory, yet still she noticed something strange. She wanted someone to bodyguard Momori, but maybe she was serious about thinking something was happening. Did Konoe arrange for a bodyguard to overwhelm that something, or to avoid that something entirely? Patricia bent her hands while running, braking. A black creature struck Shadowgale's head, her black nurse cap flying into the air. Shadowgale looked up. The sky was black, or rather there were numerous black things flying in a dense cloud, the things that attacked Patricia's subordinates. Flat, rectangular wings, all of them aiming this way, and it's almost like they're copying Malpom's ability. Patricia kicked the second wing away. The third one she punched. She grabbed the fourth one and spun it around to throw at the fifth, sixth, and seventh one. The black wings that were attacked began to collapse, then disappear and deteriorated. Patricia muttered in disgust. "New demons, huh? They're probably strong enough on their own." Strong, but I didn't see that. Oh, Shadowgale, that's just because I'm stronger. While the enemy hasn't attacked them, they ran into the narrow space between the buildings. Patricia kicked the walls of the buildings diagonally, then moved further from the building wall to building wall until she reached the rooftop. Demons constantly rushed Patricia, who recklessly moved forward. Shadowgale held back her screams as she held on to Patricia. Patricia grabbed a steel fence, pulling the fence easily while concrete was still sticking to it. It wasn't just one part of the fence with concrete alone. It was the whole fence connected all together. As she pulled part of the fence, it pulled the other, and the other pulled the one further along, wielding the iron fence like reeds dancing. Patricia bent slightly before twirling the iron fence. The distorted iron fence with the chunks of concrete all hit the creatures, bouncing them away, beating them down, the concrete debris nearly hitting Shadowgale's head as she unconsciously ducked. The density of the flying demons decreased. They were far too long range to attack. Clever things, Patricia muttered. She threw an iron fence toward the flock, then jumped away in the confusion. Midway, she grabbed a window frame and kicked the glass, breaking into the building. Running toward the opposite side and jumping across that window, she fell and landed on her knees. There was no shock. Patricia stood up, licking her fingertip and pointing it at the sky. The air, it's dry. Shadowgale looked up as Patricia said those words. Cold air hit her cheeks. She thought she'd be hit by the winds as Patricia ran at extreme speeds, but this was far too cold, as if it was freezing. Oh gosh, is this going to be caused by a deluge? 'Cause she could suck the water out of the air or make it colder. As if it was freezing. The air was dry. It was cold. These aren't just demons. My subordinates could handle them easily if it was. Patricia went across the back alley and jumped. She took a sharp right at the crossroads, jumping over the oncoming cars, suddenly jumping over the blocked fence on the private house's gardens and exiting across. The elderly woman inside was looking at the television, barely noticing Patricia. Shadowgale continued to cling without making a sound. She ran across the river by breaking the fence blocking it, passing through the under-drains to the road. From there they ran 10 steps before Patricia turned around. Something hit her. The impact and acceleration dropped. Shadowgale had to cling on just to avoid falling. There was a magical girl. It wasn't the armor magical girl. She had a oh, here it is. She had a trident. She was surrounded with sparkling things floating around her. She had no expression, but she was staring at them. Patricia swung her weapon. The enemy parried it with her trident. Weapon. Okay. So this is cool. I wonder then if the Night Magical Girl was working with Princess Deluge, because it kind of works thematically being a princess and a knight. Okay, I like this. I like we're getting to see Deluge again. It wasn't Patricia's weapon. Her weapon was the magical handcuffs that were restraining the armor magical girl. She had no choice but to leave that one. Right now she was wielding Shadowgale's large wrench. She swung the wrench to the right. The enemy's trident moved, reappearing in front of them. When Patricia swung the wrench, it was sandwiched between the trident's handle. The sound of metal struck. Patricia now had giant scissors on her left hand. That was also one of Shadowgale's unique items. What's going on? Patricia was moving at a speed too fast for Shadowgale to comprehend. Perhaps she was trying to get her enemy off balance by swinging her scissors. However, somehow she still couldn't hit her. She managed to scratch her in the cheeks, but that's it. A metal sound rang. This time Shadowgale saw it. Patricia swung the scissors again. Due to the subtle change in trajectory, it didn't hit. The floating things prevented the scissors from hitting. The enemy reached for the scissors and clashed with Patricia, who tried to throw away the scissors. Ice, huh? Quite easy to beat. Patricia seemed to admire her. Her right arm was trembling. Blood vessels were floating up. She used one arm to raise the wrench and threw it in the air with the momentum. The enemy didn't have enough time to react. Now Patricia had one free arm. Come on then. Luxury mode on. Shadowgale held back her scream. Patricia's left arm was being held down by the enemy as it began to freeze. Her fingers became white, increasing in thickness in the blink of an eye. Patricia didn't blind her eyes to her left arm, which was freezing furiously. She compressed her right fist and punched upwards. The enemy guarded with her arms up. Shadowgale could feel the impact throughout her body. The enemy's face was distorted, but still expressionless. With her guard still up, Patricia attacked again, this time to the enemy's body. The enemy winced out in pain. Ice began rising to Patricia's elbow. Patricia noticed it too, but her eyes weren't looking there. The third punch broke bones. Both the wrench and trident fell to the ground. The fourth caused the enemy's guard to fall. The enemy moved. The ice orbiting around her, changing its trajectory, attacking Patricia. They aimed for Patricia's neck and forehead, but by twisting her body, Patricia avoided one. The other managed to hit her shoulder. Similar to her left hand, ice began to take root, expanding the freezing rate from the shoulder. Yet Patricia still did not stop. The fifth punch was unguarded, thrust into the enemy's side. The feeling of broken bones could be felt even by Shadowgale. It wasn't just one, multiple bones were broken. The enemy had blood dripping from the edge of her mouth. It wasn't just something on the level of cutting your lips. Internal organs were being damaged, yet her movements haven't dulled. Ice began to fly, but they weren't aimed. Patricia managed to avoid it by 30 centimeters as it passed through her head. Obviously, the enemy had gotten weaker. Patricia's entire body was being covered by ice, but she hasn't dulled either. The moment Patricia wanted to launch her six punch, she suddenly twisted her body. Shadow Gale couldn't react to the sudden movement. She released her hand from her neck and was launched into the wall of a house. She lost her breath. Tears seeped. Her view was distorted. What happened? Ice was stabbed to Patricia's medulla oblongata. Okay, just stabbed in her head. That's all you have to say. Shadow Gale only realized it after a slight delay. The last ice the enemy fired, it wasn't to hit Patricia. It bent its orbit and was aiming at Shadow Gale, who was behind her. So Patricia instantly shook away Shadow Gale, and the ice stabbed Patricia, not Shadow Gale. Because she was shielding Shadow Gale, Patricia came under attack. A breath of air leaked out of Patricia's mouth. She shivered as she wobbled, and finally stopped moving. The ice had covered Patricia's whole body. Shadow Gale screamed out, but before she could, she felt a fist pound into her abdomen, which caused her to lurch her head upwards. As she collapsed, the last thing she saw was Patricia's body covered in ice. Okay, so not even halfway through Chapter 1, it looks like we have our first death. Maybe, possibly. Then again, she has just been frozen. We don't know if her being frozen is necessarily a death for a magical girl or not, or if it's kind of just a capture thing and Deluge can release her later. But it kind of makes sense. Deluge and her group, if she's still maybe even working with Nanako, we don't know. But her group, it makes sense for them to kind of be after Flef. They figured things out from Limited and Jokers because Flef isn't on the up and up. But again, I still have some faith in Deluge. So I don't think she's necessarily evil here. I'm going to trust her judgment for now. Now we're at 21 with Uluru. That is going to be hard as hell to say, Uluru. Let me get some water really quick. So then, Uluru is very similar to Filaru in naming. I wonder if they're related or if they just have similar names. But we have Uluru left the gate of the mansion quickly and quickly checked left and right. There was nobody around. Was it that early in the morning? The enemy hadn't been able to act yet. Uluru breathed out a sigh. She signaled the okay to the two magical girls following her. Firstly, Puck-Puck's royal guard consisted of Uluru and Sarami. Then there was Snow White, who was added in later to find Premium Sachiko. Once they find her, they'll bring her back to the manor to perform the ritual. If the Osk faction tries to attack, then they'll see just how powerful Puck-Puck can counterattack. Then they'll never strike a second time. Besides, that was the role of Uluru as Puck-Puck's aide. What was Premium Sachiko thinking? Before they even met each other, Uluru and Sachiko were taken in by Puck-Puck. It's as natural to obey Puck-Puck as it is natural for things to fall down from top to bottom. She shouldn't be running away from Puck-Puck. The one who taught Sachiko about her powers was Puck-Puck. The one who found her magical potential was Puck-Puck. So no matter what, she was indebted to her. She was kind, gentle, and lovely, something appropriate for one of the incarnations of the three sages, not to mention her beauty. Also, if there were ever trouble, she was the one person you could rely on, and Sachiko betrayed Puck-Puck's expectations. It was a nuisance to run away just before the ritual. Puck-Puck's so gentle that she forgave her for it. Anyone other than Puck, for example, the other sages, even if Sachiko were important to the ritual, would probably kill her anyway, not try to find her. Premium Sachiko had to be thankful. After 10 years of living with her, you'd think she'd show some form of appreciation. And Sachiko and one more. Uluru was irritated at Snow White. She was known as the Magical Girl Hunter. She'd heard that not only did she have the strong power to read minds, she was also a strong magical girl. She'd follow her prey to the ends of the earth, corner them, and won't finish until she puts her fangs in their throat. Puck-Puck had heard the story that she defeated one of the three sages' incarnations, Grim Heart. She had enough battle skill to disturb the Osk faction and the ability to seek out Premium Sachiko. She was a magical girl capable of doing both, escorting and protecting, and this time she was the best choice for the mission. At least according to Puck-Puck. Although Uluru accepted Puck-Puck's orders, deep down she had a raging thunderstorm. Why did Puck-Puck have to outsource? Uluru wouldn't keep quiet if she wondered if Puck-Puck didn't trust them, but she still wasn't convinced. More than anything, she was frustrated with Snow White's attitude. There's a limit to being rude. Although she's barely addressed her with a title, she couldn't see any respect at all coming from her. Maybe she wouldn't want to eat Japanese sweets. Maybe she's more of a Western type. Prep up some cake and tea, won't you? What about cola and potato chips? It's a bit American, isn't it? I'm a bit worried if I don't give Snow White the hospitality she deserves, though. But I think it was a success. What do you think, Uluru? And Puck Puck devoted herself to making a menu just for her, too. Puck Puck didn't say anything, but Uluru shouldn't let it out either. That was what fellowship was all about. She understood, and she wanted to be careful not to say anything wrong. This rude magical girl. There's no doubt she belittled Puck Puck. She was brought in, they made arrangements to find Premium Sachiko, left the mansion, closed the gate. Finally, Puck Puck isn't here anymore. With Puck Puck gone, Uluru can warn Snow White, as there was no need for fellowship. She looked up at Sarami, who was beside her. Her eyes were fixated to her magical phone. It's fine. She knew that she was unreliable. She spent 10 years living with her after all. She heard that Snow White was a dangerous magical girl. Even just warning her might make her look at you with bloodshot eyes, probably. If that's the case, she swore that she wouldn't be embarrassed to herself. She placed her right hand on the back of her rifle and let out a loud voice. Attention! Snow White looked at Uluru with a confused face. Sarami had a face that was the same as the time she found a bunch of cockroaches in the kitchen. Uluru, what's wrong? This is very important. We've all decided this, no? Yes. Sorry, Snow. She likes to show off herself sometimes. With the gate behind them, Sarami and Snow stood together. Uluru was the leader, faced the two, and took a roll call. Roll call. 1, 2, 3, Poen. There was a synthetic voice. That's when Uluru remembered that Snow White had a mascot character, a cyber fairy. Including that cyber fairy having a 3-man team wasn't really a problem. But what she wanted to fix was Sarami's rather annoyed voice. She should stop that. Before we go, I want to ask you something. Snow White raised her right hand. Yes? While looking at her magical phone, Sarami responded without hiding her incompetence. I love her thoughts of Sarami. Uluru thought it was impolite to talk while looking at the phone, even if the person you were talking to was also rude. Snow White didn't seem to care and continued on. My powers are to hear the voices of people in distress, so looks like it. Earlier I heard the voices in your heart. Really? Oh, that's embarrassing. But I also heard Puck Puck's voice too, but Uluru's head instantly burst in anger. Out. Sarami raised her head. White looked at Uluru once again. This is worse than worse. You're completely out. You can't just read someone's mind if they're a VIP. Even then, reading Lady Puck Puck's mind, there's no other way to say it. It's unacceptable. Blood rose to her head. She tried to grab Snow White's collar. I love Uluru. But Snow White dodged her, which just poured oil into Uluru's fiery anger. She balled up her fist, thinking of punching her. Then she saw Sarami. Uluru, you're being too loud. But it's unacceptable. She's out. She's far too rude. But you're standing out. Look. Uluru looked to where Sarami's looking. She saw 2 elementary school kids. The moment Uluru stared at them, the kids gazed away and began walking. They began to talk randomly. There's a big marathon tomorrow, huh? I don't want to join it, but I don't want to do practice either. Okay. This is supposed to be a secret assignment, right? We can't get noticed. Snow White wore a light brown pea coat. Sarami placed her obsessively flashy hair decorations away, holding all her plushies and things in her rucksack. Although Uluru didn't devise anything to make herself look older, she did hide her rifle and tail under her coat. Everyone was concerned about their costumes, but this was a mission, a secret mission. And again, I'll have to look at the character sheet after this, because I don't remember particularly a character with a rifle and a tail. So, again, this might just be me forgetting the designs. I'll have to look at the design sheet after this to see which one was Uluru. Uluru cleared her throat and dropped her tone. Well, that's not good. As leader, we should move out. Then let's do that. I love Uluru. Even if she wanted to scold her, this was a bad place to do it. Too troublesome for Puck Puck. She didn't want to think of her as being disappointed or sad. She had to fulfill her expectations. She had to act beyond them. This was the mission imposed to a magical girl serving the three sages. Her high position meant she was wanted for highly skilled work. Uluru led the two of them quickly. Snow White and Sarami walked side by side while chatting uselessly. Hey Snow White, your powers are on auto, right? Okay, and now we see this illustration of the three of them. Snow White is adorable. Look at her in her little coat over her magical girl outfit. And Sarami's adorable here too. I like this better than her normal design even. And then, again, I don't recognize Uluru's. For some reason. Why don't I recognize Uluru's design? It's weird. But either way, her jacket's adorable. I love jackets with the fluffy bits on them. Either way, moving along. That's right. Then you're not trying to be rude. You just hear things as soon as you transform. I'm grateful you think of me that way. Also, it's pretty convenient, huh? Hearing the voices of people's hearts? Not really. But then you'd be able to, know where people are going and what they want to do and stuff. It'll be easier for you to know who to trust and all that, right? Then you won't need to get jobs from people you don't trust. That's true. But hey, you must think Lady Puck's a good employer if you trust her enough to take the job. Yes, I can see that she's worried about Sachiko in her heart. She's worried about everyone else as well. Uluru rang her nose. Isn't it obvious, she thought? Puck was kind, even to fugitives like Sachiko. She had a big heart to forgive any sins, no matter how large. Right, I heard Lady Puck's heart, but I also heard Uluru's heart from beyond the sliding door. No way! I love, again, how Sarami has just this sort of, chill, no cares given attitude, and then how Uluru is just insane fanatic devoted to Puck. It's amazing. I heard that she was seriously worried about Premium Sachiko. Even if she tried to deceive me, I'll know. Uluru couldn't put up with this kind of incessant chatter, so she stopped moving and turned around. She pointed her finger at Sarami. Leader's orders. Banter is prohibited. I love Uluru. She is my favorite already. Then she looked at Snow White. Uluru's not worried about Premium Sachiko. That girl's ungrateful to Lady Puck. Okay. So she's referring to herself as Uluru, I guess. Uluru's not worried about Premium Sachiko. That girl's ungrateful to Lady Puck. Lady Puck forgives everyone, even if they make her go through horrible things. Lady Puck's generous heart is what'll forgive her. Sarami held both arms behind her head and chuckled. Can't wait to work together with someone who can read minds. It's kinda appealing. What's so appealing about it? Apparently you're worried about Sachiko, right? If Uluru was worried about Sachiko, then that's only the correct thing. See? Told ya. It's because Lady Puck told us to. She took Uluru's hands, told Uluru to live, and build a relationship with you two as three sisters. Uluru's just keeping that promise. That's why Uluru's worried. Oh, okay. Sure you are. What do you mean, sure? Either way, banter is still prohibited. I love Uluru so much. After saying that, she moved on. Marching forward, Snow White and Sarami kept silent for just a while, then spoke in soft tones. Uluru wanted to say that they should keep it down, but she didn't want to stop every single time. That'd make Sachiko's discovery take ages. Therefore, Uluru kept walking while being irritated. Okay, so we're at page 29. I'm probably going to continue to 32. Yeah, I feel pretty good about continuing to 32. I'm going to grab some water really quick first, though. So yep, let's see what we get. We have Sarami Nakano now. If you try to leave the city without gaining Puck's permission, an alarm will sound at the mansion. Sarami always thought, man, I really hate being watched around so much. But she figured that comes with the package of working for one of the incarnations of the Three Sages. Since the alarm didn't ring, Sachiko was still in W City. W City was known as a quiet residential area. Even surrounding municipalities, the citizens' average income wasn't that high. Or even in surrounding municipalities, the citizens' average income wasn't that high. There was a merger that was being suggested, according to the mayor and citizens. There weren't any benefits to the merger. Since tax rates and security were well enough, so they declined it stubbornly. Thanks to that, it was relatively small, and although it was at a level that could be called a city, it's still easy to look for people here. When she thought of Premium Sachiko, the first thing that came up was the face of someone crying. She couldn't endure the pressure and would escape. That sounded like Sachiko. Still, no one thought she'd run away just before the ritual. Sarami thought about how easy it was to escape, but she didn't say it out loud. She was under a lot of pressure on having the entire ritual center on her. That Sachiko's complexion turned white as paper. Around the house, posters were plastered saying, "Let's all work together to make the ritual a success. We'll make it work. Let's mobilize Lady Puck's power." Sarami wondered who did that. If they didn't stick it all over the place, Sachiko wouldn't have bolted under the pressure. I love that it was probably Uluru. No matter what Sachiko did, she looked so poor that Sarami felt sympathetic to her. Fundamentally, she often hid behind people too much. When they were trained, she was the one who complained fastest. So much that Uluru got angry. Puck took her away, and Sarami supported her. During movie nights, if the DVD they watched was horror, she'd hide in the back of the room until she left to her own room. Afterwards, she wouldn't reply even if you called her outside. For the first time in Sachiko's life, this was when she became the protagonist. There was no way she can handle this kind of pressure. If she thinks she should run, she will. Did that just not get noticed by Uluru or Puck? Were they just not sensitive to her thoughts? That'd be apocalyptic. Perhaps they never thought the protagonist would run away from something they were supposed to do. Honestly, Sarami also wanted to escape until all the heat died down. The only problem is, someone has decided to send violent people after Sachiko. Perhaps Sachiko didn't even think of someone targeting her when she ran away. She was really pitiful, thought Sarami. It wasn't just Sachiko who Sarami was sympathetic to, but Uluru too. She looked so bullish, proceeding forward as the wind scraped off her shoulder like that. Uluru herself was pretty bullish, though Sarami knows she didn't really mean to be. When a cat meowed atop the block fence, Uluru in a hurry took out her rifle and turned toward the cat. The cat got surprised and jumped, and Uluru jumped out when the cat shouted. Uluru's gun would only shoot out a cork if you pulled the trigger. Its main use was as a blunt weapon. Still, Uluru always carried it around with her like it was important. Of course, she was also a child of one of the three sages. Okay. Oh, wait, duh, 'cause they all three kind of act like children. She was also a child of one of the three sages, but she's never had a chance to witness an actual war. Even when she was trained on time every day, when Sarami didn't really want to practice running, Uluru would run as fast as she could. Sorry, I lost my place there for a sec. So to an experienced magical girl such as Uluru, having the magical girl hunter Snow White as the leader would be incompatible with her pride. As the servant of the three sages, if they consider an outsider like Snow White to be more excellent than Uluru, Uluru will just convince herself to move forward while being as jumpy as that one cat. Sarami advised her to be more relaxed, but Uluru would only reply saying, "You're too lazy to even do anything," so Uluru's justified. As Uluru couldn't hear the voice from all the way in front, she took this time to talk to Snow White a little. "Hey, so what are we gonna do? We don't really have a lot of experience, right? Don't we have to fight if worse comes to worse? What do you think Fall and I are here for? What's your suggestion then, Sarami?" "Well, why don't we talk when we're in a better place? You can talk naturally, Pone." "Yeah, I kinda think it's also gonna be a good time to just relax, right?" Talk naturally. He just had to add that, as if he thought Sarami didn't ponder on her words normally, though he didn't say that out loud. She wanted to apologize about her older sister. Snow White should be able to hear her apology at least. "So, when you're at a place like this, Snow, do you like..." Snow White would catch the voices of people passing them by, and then if there was anyone distressed, she'd inform Sarami. Sarami can then relay it to Uluru, and the three of them can rescue people. Snow White pulled her sleeves, pointing at the college boy standing next to a roadside bicycle. "Hey Uluru, looks like that guy forgot a smartphone password." "So what? We should help him, right? My powers can do that." We have no time for that. Nah, we're short, or no, we're short on time. That doesn't mean we, have no time at all. Didn't Lady Puck Puck teach us to? Magical girls have to be kind to people in distress. If she just said that Puck Puck said it, somehow Uluru will follow it. After telling the man his password, they also helped an old lady cross the street and fixed a fallen trash can, picking up the trash back inside. The three of them advanced while helping people. With these distractions, Uluru would calm down, and it can lower any boundaries between Snow White when working together. When Uluru wasn't looking, Sarami gave a thumbs up to Snow White, and Snow White gave a thumbs up back. She was surprisingly a good magical girl. I love this group. I love Uluru and Sarami so much. The way Sarami is just super chill and relaxed, but also the one who's really, really thinking through everything a lot and trying to bring everyone together. And Uluru's complete devotion to Lady Puck Puck is so amazing. And just pointing at stuff with her little toy rifle that doesn't actually work. Uluru is one of my favorite characters already. And I really, really like Sarami too. Man, I'm really loving this group, and they're just helping people doing good deeds. It's so good. I love it. So yeah, I love that group. We may have seen our first death already, but like I said, this may be more of a capture situation than a kill situation. Since she was frozen, it may just be something where Deluge has captured them. We still don't know exactly who Deluge is working for or why she's going after Flez group. So we got Flez group going on, and we got Deluge and whatever her group is doing going on, and that seems to be at a lower level. So it's going to be interesting to see how that lower level interacts with this upper level that's going on with Snow White's group going after Sachiko, because Sachiko, they need her to keep the power going in Land of Magic, pretty much, if I remember that correctly. And there's another group that's going to be after her to try to stop her. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see this upper level storyline over part of the fate of the Land of Magic itself and the Three Sages and stuff interacting with this lower level storyline of people who were sort of involved with the divisions rather than the factions. I guess I'll call the factions like the Osk faction and Puck Puck faction and stuff, and the divisions like the Foreign Affairs division and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see these two storylines going down, and then how the two storylines interact with each other across the boundaries this arc. So I'm really excited for that. Shufflin was in the character thing, so maybe the Osk faction is going to be one of the groups that's going after trying to stop Sachiko, of course, and that's going to involve a team with Shufflin in it. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see in the future. Shufflin is a force of nature and one of my favorite characters, so I'd really love to see more storytelling using her ability, because her ability is one that works really well with storytelling, just like Snow White's. But yeah, I'm excited, I'm interested for what's next, and I'll probably be reading the rest of this chapter, finishing it off in next week's video. So yeah, either way, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter so far, what you thought of my thoughts and reaction to it. Subscribe for more Magical Girl Racing Project, much more on the channel. Like I said, you're going to be seeing this, if you watch it when I first post it, as soon as possible after I record this, and I gotta record another video after it. Also follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel, or talk to you there. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there, just ask and I can give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.